Wife forgets wedding anniversary. She is now trying to make amends. An audio story. The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a warm, golden glow over the bedroom. Emily stirred awake, her alarm clock blaring a familiar tune. She groaned, reaching out to silence it, her hand brushing against the cool side of the bed where her husband, Mark, had already vacated. The scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air, a silent testament to his early morning routine. Emily stretched, feeling the familiar pull of another busy day. As she got out of bed and padded to the bathroom, her thoughts were already consumed with the tasks ahead, meetings, deadlines, and the ever-growing list of projects that demanded her attention. She glanced at her reflection in the mirror, her once bright eyes now dull with the weight of exhaustion. Mark, in contrast, was downstairs, cheerfully humming a tune as he prepared breakfast. He was a tall man with kind eyes and a gentle demeanor, always finding joy in the little things. Today, he was making Emily's favorite blueberry pancakes. He knew she often skipped breakfast in her rush to get to work, and this was his way of ensuring she started her day with a bit of love. Emily descended the stairs, her nose twitching at the delightful aroma. "Morning, Mark," she mumbled, pressing a quick kiss to his cheek before heading to the coffee machine. "Good morning, love. I made your favorite," Mark said, a hopeful smile tugging at his lips as he gestured to the stack of pancakes on the table. Emily barely glanced at the pancakes, her mind already on the emails waiting for her. "Thanks, but I really need to get going. I have a ton of work to do today." She grabbed her coffee and a piece of toast, giving him an absent smile before rushing out the door. Mark's smile faltered as he watched her leave, the uneaten pancakes a stark reminder of the growing distance between them. He sighed, clearing the table and preparing for his own day. Mark worked as a graphic designer, his schedule flexible enough to accommodate the ebb and flow of their lives. He often found himself alone in their cozy house, the silence a constant companion. The day passed in a blur for Emily, her focus unwavering as she navigated through back-to-back meetings and tight deadlines. Her colleagues admired her dedication and efficiency, but few knew the cost it took on her personal life. Emily had always been ambitious, striving to climb the corporate ladder, but in her pursuit of success, she had started to neglect the very foundation of her happiness. Meanwhile, Mark spent his day designing a new logo for a client, his thoughts frequently drifting to Emily. He missed the days when they would spend hours talking, laughing, and simply enjoying each other's company. Lately, it seemed like they were living parallel lives, intersecting only briefly and without the same spark they once shared. That evening, as Emily returned home, she was greeted by the comforting scent of a home-cooked meal. Mark had prepared her favorite pasta, hoping to catch her attention and maybe, just maybe, reconnect. "Hey, Emily. How was your day?" he asked, setting the table with a hopeful smile. Emily sighed, dropping her bag by the door. "Exhausting, as usual. I have so much to do, and it feels like there's never enough time." She glanced at the table, a small smile tugging at her lips. "This looks wonderful, Mark." "Thank you." They sat down to eat, the conversation light but strained. Mark tried to engage her, asking about her day and sharing snippets of his own, but Emily's mind was elsewhere. She nodded along, her responses automatic and devoid of genuine interest. Mark's heart ached at the growing chasm between them, but he pushed the feelings aside, determined to stay positive. As the evening wore on, Emily retreated to her home office, her laptop glowing in the dim light. Mark watched her from the living room, a deep sense of loneliness settling in. He missed the days when they would curl up on the couch, watching movies and talking about their dreams. Now, it seemed like they were drifting further apart with each passing day. Before heading to bed, Mark made one last attempt to connect. He walked into her office, leaning against the doorframe. "Emily, do you remember what's coming up next week?" Emily glanced up, her brow furrowed. "Next week? Oh, the quarterly review. I've been preparing for it." "Why?" Mark's heart sank, but he forced a smile. "Nothing, just wanted to make sure you remembered." As he left the room, Emily's attention returned to her screen, oblivious to the disappointment etched on his face. The days of their happy, carefree love seemed like a distant memory, replaced by the relentless pace of their hectic lives. The following week arrived with the same relentless pace as any other. Emily was knee-deep in preparations for the quarterly review, her stress levels peaking as the deadline loomed closer. Her office was a whirlwind of papers, charts, and coffee cups, each one a testament to her tireless dedication. Mark, on the other hand, had spent weeks planning a special surprise for their 5th anniversary. He wanted to rekindle the magic of their earlier days, hoping to bridge the growing gap between them. He had carefully crafted a romantic evening at home, complete with a candlelit dinner, soft music, and a thoughtfully chosen gift. The day of their anniversary dawned, unnoticed by Emily as she rushed to the office, her mind preoccupied with work. She barely acknowledged Mark's cheerful happy anniversary before hurrying out the door, her focus solely on the looming deadline. Mark watched her leave, a pang of disappointment tightening his chest. He had hoped for a different reaction, a sign that she remembered the significance of the day. Undeterred, he set about preparing for the evening, determined to make it special. Throughout the day, Emily was engrossed in meetings and project updates. Her phone buzzed with messages from colleagues, reminders of tasks, and the occasional personal notification. She glanced at a calendar notification that popped up, briefly noting the date before dismissing it without a second thought. Mark spent the afternoon transforming their home into a romantic haven. He decorated the dining room with twinkling fairy lights, set the table with their best china, and arranged a bouquet of Emily's favorite flowers in the center. The smell of a delicious dinner wafted through the house, filling it with warmth and anticipation. As the evening approached, Mark eagerly awaited Emily's return. He checked the clock frequently, each passing minute heightening his excitement. He wanted everything to be perfect, hoping that this evening would remind Emily of the love they shared. Emily, meanwhile, was in her office, frantically working to meet her deadline. She had planned to stay late, completely forgetting the significance of the day. Her colleagues buzzed around her, the atmosphere tense with the pressure of the looming review. As the clock struck 6, Mark lit the candles and dimmed the lights, creating a cozy, intimate atmosphere. He set the table with their favorite dishes and placed a beautifully wrapped gift beside Emily's plate. The scene was set, all that was missing was Emily. Hours ticked by, and Mark's excitement slowly turned into concern. He tried to keep his spirits up, telling himself she would be home soon. As the evening stretched into night, his phone buzzed, breaking the silence. It was Emily. "Hey, Mark," she answered, her voice distracted. "I'm really sorry, but I have to stay late at the office. The review is tomorrow, and we're not ready." Mark's heart sank, but he forced a gentle tone. "Emily, do you remember what today is?" There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then a sharp intake of breath. "What day it is?" "Mark, is it really important right now?" "I'm really busy." Mark's disappointment was evident, though he tried to keep his voice steady. "Emily, it's our anniversary." There was another pause, this one longer, filled with silence and realization. "Oh my God, Mark. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot." The guilt in her voice was palpable, but the damage was done. Mark's disappointment was evident, though he tried to keep his voice steady. "It's okay, Emily. I understand. We can celebrate another time." Emily's eyes widened in shock as she grasped the full extent of her neglect. She sat in stunned silence, her expression frozen in a mix of regret and guilt. The words "I'm really sorry, Mark. I'll make it up to you, I promise" hung in the air, but they felt empty and unconvincing, unable to capture the depth of her remorse. Mark ended the call, his heart heavy with sadness. He blew out the candles, the scent of extinguished wax mingling with the cold, untouched dinner. He sat down at the table, staring at the beautifully wrapped gift, a stark reminder of the evening that could have been. Emily remained at the office, her mind no longer on the review but on the look of hurt and disappointment she had heard in Mark's voice. The weight of her neglect pressed down on her, making her work feel insignificant in comparison. She knew she had to finish her project, but the realization of what she had lost that evening lingered, casting a shadow over her every thought. As the night wore on, Emily finally wrapped up her work, feeling a wave of regret and sadness wash over her. The triumph of completing her project felt hollow compared to the guilt gnawing at her. She desperately wanted to leave, to rush home and make amends, but the project required her presence until the very end. She stayed, each passing minute filled with the bitter taste of remorse. The next morning, Emily trudged home, exhausted and burdened with guilt. She opened the door to a house that felt achingly empty. Mark had already left for work, his absence a stark reminder of the previous night's disappointment. In the kitchen, the scene was a painful tableau of what could have been. The cold, untouched dinner sat forlornly on the table, the half-burned candles standing as silent witnesses to her neglect. Emily's eyes were drawn to the beautifully wrapped anniversary gift, a heartfelt note attached. With trembling hands, she picked up the note and began to read. Mark's words were filled with love, patience, and a deep sadness that pierced her heart. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the full extent of her neglect and the pain she had caused the man who had given her nothing but love and support. Emily sank to the floor, clutching the note to her chest, her shoulders shaking with sobs. Flashbacks of happier times, of past anniversaries filled with laughter and love, played in her mind. She had taken those moments for granted, allowed herself to be consumed by work, and in the process, had let the most important person in her life feel unloved and unappreciated. In that moment, Emily vowed to make things right. She realized that no deadline or project could ever be as important as the love and connection she shared with Mark. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to show him how much he meant to her. The following days were a blur of self-reflection and determination for Emily. She knew she had a long road ahead to mend the rift she had created, but she was resolved to start immediately. She took a day off work, the first in a long time, to plan a series of thoughtful gestures for Mark. That evening, she sat alone in their living room, surrounded by old photo albums and mementos of their time together. She flipped through the pages, smiling and tearing up at the memories of their early relationship, their wedding, and the past anniversaries. Each photo was a reminder of the love they had shared, a love she had allowed to fade in the face of her career ambitions. The next morning, Emily woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. She prepared Mark's favorite breakfast, pancakes with fresh blueberries and a side of crispy bacon. She left a note beside his plate, expressing her love and her desire to reconnect. Mark walked into the kitchen, surprised to see Emily up early and breakfast ready. He read the note, a flicker of hope sparking in his eyes. He appreciated the gesture but remained guarded, the hurt from their anniversary still fresh. Emily continued her efforts throughout the week. She arranged for a romantic dinner at his favorite restaurant, wrote him a heartfelt letter apologizing for her neglect, and booked a weekend getaway to a secluded cabin they had loved visiting early in their marriage. Each gesture was met with cautious appreciation, Mark's demeanor softening but still distant. Emily knew that grand gestures alone wouldn't be enough to heal their relationship. She needed to show Mark, through her actions and daily efforts, that she was committed to changing. She started with small, thoughtful acts of kindness. She made his favorite coffee every morning, left little notes of appreciation in his workspace, and made a conscious effort to be present when they talked. Mark began to notice these changes. He saw Emily making an effort to be home on time, to listen to him without distractions, and to show genuine interest in his day. They started having open and honest conversations about their feelings and needs, conversations they had neglected for too long. One evening, as they sat on the couch together, Mark finally voiced his frustrations. "Emily, I've felt so alone these past few months. I've missed you, missed us. It's like you were here physically, but your mind was always somewhere else." Emily listened empathetically, her eyes filled with regret. "I'm so sorry, Mark. I've been so caught up in my work that I didn't see how much I was hurting you. I promise I'm going to change. I want us to be happy again." They decided to attend a couples workshop, hoping it would help them reconnect and rebuild their bond. The workshop was a transformative experience. Through various activities and discussions, they learned new ways to communicate, to understand each other's perspectives, and to rebuild trust. They laughed together, cried together, and rediscovered the love that had brought them together in the first place. Despite the progress they were making, there were still challenges to overcome. Mark had moments of frustration and tiredness from the emotional toll of feeling neglected. Emily had to constantly remind herself to balance her career and personal life, making sure she didn't fall back into old habits. One night, after a particularly challenging day at work, Emily came home to find Mark waiting for her. He looked weary, his eyes reflecting the weight of their shared struggles. "Emily, I need to know that this isn't just a phase. I need to know that you're really committed to us, to making this work." Emily took his hands in hers, her voice steady and filled with determination. "Mark, I promise you, I am committed. I know I've let you down before, but I've learned from my mistakes. I love you more than anything, and I'm going to keep showing you that every day." Mark nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. "I believe you, Emily. Let's keep working on this, together." Gradually, Emily's consistent efforts began to rekindle the romance and trust in their relationship. They found joy in the small moments, sharing a cup of coffee in the morning, taking evening walks together, and simply being present for each other. Their love grew stronger, built on a foundation of mutual appreciation and continuous effort. As their next anniversary approached again, they planned a special celebration together, both fully present and engaged. They looked forward to it not as a chance for grand gestures, but as a day to celebrate their renewed connection and the love they had worked so hard to reclaim. The months following their renewed efforts were transformative for both Emily and Mark. Their bond, once frayed by neglect, was now strengthened by mutual understanding and appreciation. Emily had truly embraced the importance of balancing her career with her personal life, and Mark had opened his heart to forgive and rebuild trust. As their anniversary approached again, Emily and Mark planned their celebration together. This time, it wasn't about grand gestures or lavish surprises. It was about being present for each other and celebrating the love that had withstood trials and emerged stronger. The morning of their anniversary, Emily woke up early, excitement bubbling within her. She prepared a simple yet heartfelt breakfast for Mark: scrambled eggs, toast, and freshly squeezed orange juice. She placed a small bouquet of wildflowers on the table, a nod to the flowers Mark had often picked for her during their early years together. Mark entered the kitchen, his face lighting up at the sight. "Happy anniversary, Emily," he said, pulling her into a warm embrace. "Happy anniversary, Mark," she replied, her voice filled with genuine happiness. They enjoyed their breakfast together, reminiscing about their journey and the memories they had created. The atmosphere was light and filled with laughter, a stark contrast to the tension that had marked their previous anniversary. That afternoon, they went for a walk in the nearby park, hand in hand. The sun was shining, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. They talked about their future, their dreams, and the adventures they wanted to embark on together. It was a simple but meaningful way to reconnect and reaffirm their commitment to each other. In the evening, they returned home to find the dining room beautifully decorated with candles and fairy lights, much like the setup Mark had created the previous year. This time, they had prepared the scene together, each detail a reflection of their joint effort and shared love. They sat down to a homemade dinner, the table adorned with their favorite dishes. As they ate, they exchanged heartfelt letters they had written for each other. Emily's letter was an outpouring of love and gratitude, acknowledging her past mistakes and expressing her deep commitment to their relationship. Mark's letter was filled with forgiveness, hope, and a promise to continue growing together. After dinner, they danced slowly in the living room, the soft music enveloping them in a cocoon of love and intimacy. The world outside seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of them, united in their journey. As the night drew to a close, they sat on the porch, looking up at the star-filled sky. Emily rested her head on Mark's shoulder, feeling a profound sense of peace and contentment. "Thank you for standing by me, Mark. I know I've made mistakes, but I'm so grateful for your love and patience." Mark kissed the top of her head, his voice gentle. "We've both learned and grown, Emily. What matters is that we're here now, stronger than ever. I love you, and I always will." Their anniversary celebration was a testament to their resilience and the power of love and forgiveness. They had faced challenges, but they had emerged stronger, ready to face the future together. Emily reflected on the journey they had taken over the past year. She had learned that love required continuous effort, appreciation, and presence. She vowed to never take Mark for granted again, cherishing each moment they shared. As they planned their future, Emily and Mark were filled with hope and excitement. They knew that their love would continue to grow, nurtured by the lessons they had learned and the bond they had strengthened. With hearts full of love and gratitude, they looked forward to many more anniversaries, each one a celebration of their enduring commitment and unbreakable bond.